what was Dylan like prior to joining the Marines?
Dylan was an amazing kid. He was always happy, enthusiastic about joining the Marine Corps, always wanting to be there for everybody and help everybody.
And what was your reaction when he said, "Hey, I am going to officially join the Marines"? How did that process play out?
Actually, I was really proud of him for making the decision at a very young age. He was 17 and a half when he came to me and approached me about it. We set up an appointment with the recruiter to sign the paperwork, and I was proud of him.
And what would you say was his favorite part once he actually did achieve the title of Marine? I know how that feeling is. It's a great moment. But what would you say was his favorite part about being an actual Marine?
All of it. He loved the training. He loved the bonding with his Marine brothers. All of it.
Shooting high caliber pistols.
That's a pretty fun part. I will agree with that. For both of you, what was your initial reaction to seeing the news that Afghanistan was starting to fall to the Taliban, and did you think that Dylan would play a part in our response to that?
Being that Dylan's location was where it was for that deployment, I did, when it was happening, I assumed that when they were calling in for the other 3,500 Marines to come in, I knew it was going to be their battalion.
When did you find out that Dylan was going to be going to Afghanistan? How did that information come to you?
He told me. I actually questioned him first. I approached him. I texted him and I called him, and he didn't respond for 24 hours. And then when he did respond, he was the one that actually ultimately told me.
Was that your last conversation with him?
No, that was a text, and then he called me later on after that.
And how did that conversation play out, if you don't mind me asking?
I was leaving work and I spent an hour on the phone with him, and we were talking about, he was so proud. All of them were actually really proud and excited to go help out and help people, and it was a non-combative situation at the time, so they were just really proud to be out there or going out there.
August 26th comes around. How did you find out about the attack at Abbey?
It was actually my day off from work, and I woke up panicked. I'm not sure exactly. I saw him come to me, and I saw him laying on the ground crying, "Mom, help me." And I instantly grabbed my phone because I didn't know if I missed his phone call or a text message from him, because I hadn't talked to him in about 2 days. And when I grabbed my phone, the alert was on my phone that there had been an explosion in Afghanistan.
I was at work at the time, and in our break room, we do have a television set, and everyone was coming out saying that there was a bomb that had exploded in Afghanistan. And I immediately began to cry because I knew my grandson was there. And when we were all texting in our family chat, it's a feeling, and I don't know how other people react, but it was a feeling that we all were scared. Cheryl couldn't get a hold of him, so we didn't know if it was a radio silence or what was going on at that time.
And when did you find out that Dylan was among the casualties?
I found out through my dad calling me. They showed up at my parents' house. The 2 Marines showed up. They knocked on the door. I wasn't here. And my dad called me to get to the house.
How have your feelings about it have evolved or changed, or is there a certain new perspective that you've gained or from it in the years since?
Every day feels like the same day over and over again. our lifestyle hasn't really changed at this point as far as a regular, normal lifestyle. There's been no accountability on this situation that happened in Afghanistan. I don't believe that them going out there and putting it on the news and the media saying that it was a successful mission when, yes, the Marines did save 160,000 lives, but there's 4.4 million people living in that country, and we did leave behind a lot of people over there that need to interpreters and our allies.
It would be nice to have answers. Why did Bagram Airfield be evacuated? Why were the orders not given? Because the people on the ground and the colonels and the generals, they were there, not the people sitting behind the closed door.
The Republicans on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, they just released a report, or they're about to release a report about their investigation into the whole situation. But I wanted to ask how it makes you feel when, according to that report, we still left behind 800 Americans who did want to leave, but were unable to leave the country prior to us completely withdrawing at the end of August.
Honestly, we received a brief report. They left out a lot of information that was not given to us, and it was not known on media. A lot of people didn't see it. I think just our families saw the link of the video of their investigation, and none of it's truthful.
Overall, what do you think the Biden administration and the Department of Defense could have done differently?
There was a plan, and they didn't stick to the plan. And they chose to take a different path in their own course. And with that, 13 American young men and women lost their lives, along with many Afghanistans and many people that nobody knows about. We don't hear their names, but they came back with one arm, one leg, severely injured. We need to help those people too.
Yeah, I've heard from other families that they have heard from the other Marines and soldiers who were on the ground at Abbey on the 26th that they had the suicide bomber ID'd and they had requested permission to take him out prior to the explosion. Is that something you have heard as well?
Yes, I have heard that.
I mean, how reliable is that piece of information? Do you guys, in your view, kind of take that into consideration? And why do you think that kind of crucial piece of information hasn't gotten out?
The Marines that were on the ground were told that they weren't allowed to speak about the situation that was going on in Afghanistan or anything leading up to it. And so none of their stories were being told to the outside public.
Well, at one moment, you're standing on the opposite side of another militant, and then all of a sudden you have to be an ally to them. That does not make sense.
So when it was time to bring your son home and bring the 12 others home, I was told that some of the Gold Star families did not want Biden present for the dignified transfers. I wanted to know kind of your thoughts about it, and also if you did see the president check his watch during the ceremony.
So I told them that I was standing in front of Biden administration for my son and my country, not for the presence of him being there. We were taken out onto the tarmac, and yes, after each child was respectively during their dignified transfer, he checked his watch every time.
So it wasn't just once?
He did it every time, 13 times. As if he had somewhere better to be.
What do you want the rest of the country to know about Dylan and what he did and what happened to him in Kabul?
Everything.
I want his story to be told for years and years to come, forever. He was a great kid. Amazing.
respectful, always willing to help someone else. When we had family gatherings, he enjoyed sitting with the elders to hear their stories because they were also in the military. So there was a military bond between the grandfathers and the great-grandfathers. He loved Legos. He loved video games. He loved hunting, fishing, camping, running. And we'll never see that beautiful, smiling face. And that's what hurts.
What are some of the other things that you're doing to help keep his memory alive?
We're working on doing a memorial at his high school currently, to be placed in front of the school for other children to realize that our sacrifices or freedom does not come free. And there are kids out there that do make that ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms here in our country.
What would your message be to President Biden if you were to have a conversation with him?
Right now, at this point, I want him to hold accountability for what happened in Afghanistan, not just for our 13, but for everyone that was out there.